Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of TIS Hitters, episode 20 today on the 18th of January 2021. My name is Kurt Conley. I'm here with Mr. Nissen. How are you today, Rev?
Yeah, doing well, Kurt. Doing all right, and yourself?
Yeah, good. Had a couple of days off, had to deal with some personal things, but back in the spaceship, ready to rock and roll and steering what is happening here today on TIS Hitters. So, really stoked to be back here. We've got a couple of trades that we want to talk about. Market seems to be making a little bit of a shift, maybe.
Yeah, it's playing up a
But
little bit and doing some things that I don't know, it's just kind of weird. It's very different.
I don't call it weird. I think Bitcoin's trying to chill out a bit, but what do I know? Let's jump into it, Rev, and let's cover some stuff that we're talking about in T-Sitters today. So, as always, the disclaimer: this is not investment advice. We are not financial advisors. Everything we cover in Discord, Facebook, Twitter, and all our social channels is our perspective on what's happening in the market, and they're just our opinions. So, some of the stuff that we're going to go through today fall into that category. Let's check out what we are talking about today in T-Sitters. So we have had a few breaks with T-Sitters, stop, start, obviously with the New Year and Christmas. And then I had some things I had to take care of. Rev had some things here to take care of. So we feel like we're back in the hot seat. We're going to keep going with our Mondays and Fridays. If anything does pop up, as usual, we do let you guys know in the members areas. We do apologize. But yeah, we feel like things are back on track.
Sure.
So, as always, we do a summary of the previous T-Sitters, and we are going to recap both series because there has been a few little gaps just to go back over a couple of things. So the episode, I'll start with the bottom one, episode 18. So going back to like the 5th of Jan, we talked about DOC and OMG. DOC, we entered around 61 sats. The current sat value today is around 70 sats, but the high since the entry, it did go to 78 sats. And it pushed that 28% return on investment mark since the entry. And right now we've got a change of about 14%. So if you've got it on DOC, it would have been a nice little trade there. OMG, 10,640 sats was the entry. Current sat value is around 12,600. Someone just said something about OMG just before. I don't know if it was on my phone or if it was on the computer. That there was some action going on. The current trade is at 18. But the high since entry went to 12,670. We were talking about a 13,000 sat breakout, but it didn't get there at the time. But it does look like it's trying to test it now, right?
Yeah, for sure. It looks like it did actually attempt to test it because it went to 12,670, very close to it, and it was just below, the structure was just below 13,000 sats. So this is the first test. Let's see if it pulls back a little bit and goes for another test on it. Just keep your eyes on it, I guess, at the end of the day is... always, just make sure that you know what's happening and try and stay in the loop of it all. But you can see how long sometimes those TIS trades take a while to really build up. But I mean, there's some nice numbers across the board right there. But yeah.
Sure. We always do talk about TIS trades, 2 days, 2 weeks. So if you take the 5th of January, 17th of January, we're in that 2-week window. Okay. To the last week's one, which is the 11th of January, which is episode 19, we talked about XMR. The entry was 440,000 sats. Current sat value is around 438 sats, so we're down about 4.5% from the entry. However, the high was 501,000 sats, so about a 14% gain. So nice trade there on XMR. XMR, we talked about a couple of times. We talked about it, the support level, and XMR seemed to be playing games with us with T-Sitters, but it was a decent little trade there. We had talked about it a few times. Carver was another one that we talked about ages ago in Cryptify back in 2019 and 20. And it was another one that we covered in the T-Sitters in episode 19. So 4,500 sats was the entry. Current sat value around is 5,879. The change 36%, but the high since entry was 48.5%. Awesome trade.
Yeah,
awesome trade.
Really good trade. And it was set up for it, so.
Yeah, and we did talk about that in the last TIS, so you can go back and watch that as well. TIS has had a great record with Carver. So in the future, like if we talk about records and that, we might always try and reference back to Carver.
Just use it as a example. There is another one actually that's really, really good with TIS. Well, TIS is really good with it. I totally forgotten which one it is, but I'm sure we'll remember. We've covered on a TIS episode. I think it was 15 or 16.
Yeah, it does have a good track record.
Yeah.
So that is the summary. Let's jump into the first one. I think we've only got one we're going to talk about today, right?
Just one today, yeah. And we spoke about this as well, or I dropped a little a post in TIS Trades and TIS Trade Chat and Trade Chat for both the communities, just to show, myself and another member were collaborating on, I guess, just having a chat about charting formations and patterns and what patterns they were. And I personally thought that the community member was asking what chart patterns is happening here. Can someone sort of elaborate on it? And I said, oh, we're seeing an uptrend support channel, and we've got an ascending triangle here. And he was like, Rev wins, and I was like, oh, I didn't know it was a contest, but didn't know what was going on. But we spoke about it, and then I dropped that exact formation for BNB and what was happening there as well. So if you want to check it out, either Trade Chat or TIS Trade Chat, you'll see it.
Who was it that made that comment, Rev? Just while we're on the video here.
Chaser, it was, yeah.
I thought it was. I just wanted to do just to say to Chaser as well. Like, I appreciate everything you're doing in the community at the moment as well. And a lot of people are watching some of the stuff that you're doing in the trading support. So, respect for that as well.
Yeah, there's some really, really great community members for sure. But let's get into this and smash it out. So BNB, go for it, Kurt.
BNB today, current CMC ranking is 11th. USD price is $45. Satbay is 128,900. Now, the trade setup for this, it has 3 pivot lows are confirmed, and it did break out of the ascending triangle formation, and the resistance has now flipped support on the 4-hour chart. 1500 BTC volume. BNB does attract great volume. It is a high volume traded token, and we have had 2 buy notifications on TIS. We give this a 8 out of 10 rating, and there's a few things that come into play here. Rev will talk about the charting, but there is a few some stuff with the fundamentals with the burn that Rev was talking about also in the chat, in the TIS channel chat. So there's a couple of things at play here, but Rev and I were also talking. Binance does have a history when the BNB token moves that things do seem to play out, don't you think, Rev?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, BNB was one of the only tokens that really did well, besides Raven. Funny, I've got the hat on. In the bear market of 2018, 2019, these were two things, but BNB really stood out. And the reason for it was, you buy some BNB, you get fees, lowered on Binance. Binance is the biggest exchange right now around the world for crypto. So it made sense. But then they were also doing these burns every single time. So they were the only token that really performed in a bear market really well and still held its own till this day. And there's no real FUD around it. BNB. CZ has done an incredible job. I speak to CZ every now and then. We have had many chats. And I appreciate everything he's done. I mean, he's going against the grain and has really shown the crypto world and the whole world that, hey, we have morals, we have respect, and funds are safer always. I mean, even not long ago, there was the Cover protocol, got attacked.
Yeah,
he got attacked, and anyone that had Cover, I personally had Cover, but it was on Uniswap and not on Binance. Big mistake. I don't have any more Cover anymore. It's gone. It's perished. It's worth nothing when it was worth a lot. Where if lesson learnt for me as well. If it was on Binance, you know what I mean. Funds are safer because he recovered it. It was like $10 million worth of funds, which he didn't really need to do because it's not his project at the end of the day. But
I think he does a lot of great things for the community like that, right? Like he's always very vocal on Twitter. If something's wrong, he's straight onto it. I think he provides a lot of reassurance. I know there's a lot of people out there that still FUD the exchange and talk about other things, but I think if you look at individuals in the crypto space, and especially someone in his position and what he's doing and with the exchange and that, I think he provides a lot of reassurance for people, provides a great service, great tools, and a great all-round exchange and experience. Would you not agree?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if there's an outage on their exchange, he straight away tweets, "Hey, we're getting it fixed." And these are great things. He has really great values, and he's pretty straightforward about the sort of person he is as well, personally. And he doesn't let the fudders get in the way, to be honest. Hats off to you, CZ and Binance. You guys have smashed it. So from the Cryptify team to Binance, we support you guys. You have our support from day one since 2017, really.
Awesome. Let's check the trade out, Rev.
Yeah, let's
see what we got.
Let's smash it out. All right. So We're going to be looking at the Tether market on CryptoStat here for BNB. So let's go to the Tether market right up here. If you haven't seen it, it is there. Now, one thing to note on the Tether market structure through statistical data, we don't have a buyers and selling percentage, buy and sell pressure in here. And there's a few things for it, but it's really hard to explain just on the TIS hitters content. But it's very technical why there isn't one. So let's bring up the chart for BNB USDT. Usually we look at the BTC value, but on this one it's really critical that we do look at the USDT value here. And we can see that structure right there. We can see those 3 pivot lows there, or the swing lows, whatever. There's 2 terminologies for it. It means the same thing, just so people can have an understanding of that. And you can see we really rode it. And then this was a sort of resistance here. I'll throw a quick line on it. Don't want to make it too... We want to make it as simple as possible and easy to follow for people at the end. And that's what we've always done, Kurt. So let's keep it that way, right? So you got this ascending triangle here formation. If you had a line here, and you had an upward trend support channel as well, and you can see we broke out. We went for a push for a new pivot high, and we're falling back down to that support. Now we opened a new 4-hourly, and this is on a 4-hourly, on that actual support, which is really cool to see, and that sort of confirms it. And you can see from there we went from 45.20 to where we are right now at almost 46, 45.97. So if that continues, expect it to continue to go upwards, because we've already tested that resistance to see if we'll fall under, and we flipped it to support so far. It has another 2 hours or so for this 4-hourly to close. Yeah, 2 hours and 7 minutes. There it is on the screen, if I was paying attention to it. 2 hours and 7 minutes for that 4-hourly to close. And if we close above and continue up and start watch out for a breakout, I guess. If we open a new high candle, so where we close this one, if it's a new closed one, it's pretty bullish as well. Because if we look right now, where it is right now is as high as it's closed or opened a candle so far, ever in its history, in BNB's history. So if we go back one day, you can see it is the highest point for it. There has been no other high point for BNB in its timeline, in its history. So, you know, fundamentally, they have the burn as well, which we spoke about. And just before the new year, I mentioned the trade that I was taking as well at about $33. It was just before the new year, it was towards the end. And it really did take off from there, didn't it? It just went crazy. Here it is, 22nd or so of December, before even Christmas. And we took that trade. So it was a really nice trade to be set up from there. And you can see the breakout once again. This breakout didn't even come back to test until, you know, the new year. And you can see it tested right there on that week. And it's so, at the end of the day, technical analysis giving you an edge. That's all technical analysis is going to do. And we speak about these things in the modules that we've been putting together. As you can see behind me, I've got a whiteboard with all different types of setups as well. I don't know how closely you can see it, but, you know, I'm working tirelessly, and my absence in the Discord, don't take it as a bad thing or as if we're not there. We're watching everything. We're still there, but we're really focusing on, you know, putting together a few things for you guys, and then we can come back and focus and start doing the fun things and chatting with you guys. Because trust me, putting together videos and trading modules are not fun. Especially with the structure and all the work that needs to go into it. It really isn't fun. But yeah, so for BNB on a USDT perspective, it looks good. And you can see where it's going as well. When we zoom out from a daily as well, it looks good. And we can see it's tested that support, that resistance, and flipped it to support and bounced right off it. And once again, I think it is doing the same thing. And with the burn, and I have a hunch, I think they're going to burn 3,333,333 tokens. Just a hunch. Just a guess. They did ask to guess, so on Twitter, I made it pretty clear. I think that's what they're gonna burn. But it would be very funny if it did happen. But yeah,
I love it.
Let's look at it from a BTC perspective as well, because it is the only one that we're looking at on this TIS Hitter series. I think it warrants a bit more time on it as well to pay attention to it. Also, I just want to cover, and I just want to really point out, price action zones are there in support and resistance ranges because people are looking to enter and also to take longs, to take shorts, to take profits. you know, and we'll be talking once again about these and what to look for in the trading modules to come. So let's look at it from a BTC perspective for a second here. This is on an hourly. So you can see in BTC perspective, it's been higher, but in a USDT perspective, it's in price discovery at the moment. It hasn't been in these ranges. And this is what's beautiful of understanding the, I guess, the dynamics that we have here with altcoins. We have Bitcoin's price, dollar value, and then we have the altcoin's SAP value as well to really represent and match and try and understand where we're going. So if we look at BNB, for example, let's try and find its high, right? Its high was 315. It's pretty much double and more from where it is right now. Now, if we put that to the dollar value right now, we're speaking about $45 at the moment. But we're talking about over $100 if it was still at that SAP value. So people really need to understand it, and they need to make a decision. Some people like myself even have two sets of trading accounts. One is to accumulate sats and not worry about the dollar, and the other one is just to focus on purely accumulating dollar, and that's what I'm looking to do. So, you know, just keep that in mind.
Sorry, Rev. It's a really good point, because what happens is people fall into stack sats only bucket.
Yep.
And then when they're stacking sats and they're like, oh, I need to take some money out of, you know, my trading account. They don't want to, because they've fallen into that. I have to just keep stacking sats. I don't want to sell my Bitcoin.
Yep.
Then Bitcoin has these massive, you know, 20, 30% corrections. And then they feel, you know, then there's a whole emotional roller coaster that comes with that as well. So we've talked about it in the past, not so much on T-Sitters, but in the group, you know, like different buckets, different trading accounts. You know, some people have a Road to $1 Million trading account, and they have another trading account, and they have a daily trading account, and then they're just sending Bitcoin back to their ledger as well. So it's a really good point.
Yeah. I think it's the coolest way to do it, to be honest, is to have that balance, to make sure that you've got your positions in place and your plan in place, to set up yourself for success and not to set up yourself for disappointment. If you have a loss in one of them, all right, that's okay. You're kind of hedging yourself on the other end. But, you know, at least have a plan, and don't be disappointed if it doesn't go your way. If it does, awesome, but make sure that you understand your risks with that as well. So, once again, another thing that we'll be covering on the modules. I really hope people take something from it and learn quite a bit from them. And to be honest, they're going to be really simple, really straightforward. I'm going to be sharing a lot of the, you know, the thinking outside the box that I do on a lot of it. It's kind of sharing my little secrets that aren't there, or what I do differently anyway. I won't call them secrets, but what I do differently from a trading perspective. So, yeah, it's a bit weird putting it out there, Kurt, just to be straight up with people, right? It's really weird, you know, giving it all and sharing everything that makes me different. But you know what? It doesn't make a difference until people put that into practice and actually utilize it.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, we've been over this many times, and just while we've got this short little spot here, you know, like, we're building a community here. We're not trying to just build some tools and then just let you guys subscribe to the tools and just, like, be left on your own devices. Like, we're trying to create this journey and this ecosystem within Cryptify where you have access to some tools if you want to use them. You don't have to. Everyone's different. And the trading course is not this long built out 6-day, 5-day, 25-hour trading course. It's like little snippets of goodness that you can apply and just like quick training modules that Rev lays out for you. That simply explains so you can just get up and going. Like, there's a lot of people that spend like weeks and weeks and weeks training, and they're not even doing any training. It's like, do a little bit of training, do a little bit of trading, get in with the community, talk to the community, check in with them, and get going. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do here. Rev's pulling the modules together. We're building out the platform, creating all these things for you guys to use, plus the tools, and we're trying to build this ecosystem. So that's the plan rolling forward with 2020.
For sure. Here's a little thing I've just seen on BNB BTC, right? When we went above the zero line over here and bullish, we didn't come back down for a little while from 11 December, and we stayed on top of that zero line till April 19. And this is on the daily candles, right? You can see what it really did to the price action of it, and that's insane. That's a big move for BNB right there from a SAT perspective. We're talking 476,000 sats. It's actually higher. Oh wow, I thought it was this one that was the highest, but we've seen higher. There you go. From a SAT perspective, and the bottom here was 128, pretty much where we are right now. And you can see we're creeping that daily to the zero line at the moment. So will we get something like this? this is a possibility that may happen with BNB. And what I found was BNB really took charge, like I said, when everything else wasn't doing anything. And we can see it again here above the zero line. Nice push out. Once again, where is it? We had this one above the zero line. Didn't really push as high, but came back down. Once again above the zero line, made a move from about here to there. And then we stayed above, actually. We literally stayed above the zero line. So you could have stayed in this trade and you could see that big push out. So looking forward to what this does. And we can see it's trying to decouple itself from this trend line here that's happening on the pivots. Because now we've opened and we've pushed above. So look out for the daily as well, which will end in 17 hours, 18 hours almost. And look out for it to touch that 99-day MA on B2C setup as well. These are little things that you need to pay attention to, and I think it's warranted for BNB because, like we said, like everything that we've said so far, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, she's looking juicy. That is the only trade that we're going to cover today, and we wanted to go into BNB a little bit more in depth. So obviously we're time restricted, so we're only going to cover one today. There was one other little thing that we just wanted to quickly chuck into TIS hitters, and that was regarding Forcia. This is the performance of Cryptify Forcia, the spot bot. So there's two bots for those that don't know, or for the members that don't want to get confused, long, short, and spot bot. So Rev's just going to quickly go over this and just touch on the performance, because we are getting people sending messages. In the registered channel is where the link is. If you do want to subscribe to it, you don't need to send us a direct message and ask if you're allowed to subscribe to it. Or I do respect and I appreciate that you guys all do reach out to us asking these questions, but we're trying to streamline this information so you guys can get it and just move on your own accord. So please check out the registered channel. But Rev, if you're going to give a quick overview on how the spot bot's been going.
Yeah, I'm just going to run it really quick. So the long short bot versus the spot bot. Long short bot has not been doing well at all, and we're straight up about it. There's no, there's nothing to hide. At the end of the day, it's had a bad experience in this market.
What is it down at the moment? Like 60 something?
60% or so, yeah, at the moment. Probably even more now since I last looked. As you can see, I'm not at home. I'm somewhere else, and just trying to get this stuff done. But yeah, when I get back. But just to be straight up about it, the long short has really struggled because it's been taking shorts, and we're in a really bull market as well. So every time it took a short, it was just the other way around. And it just kept on pushing price. Fundamental news was the first one. Since the first trade, it just hasn't been doing well since we made it live. Now, when we look at the spot bot, these numbers can be a little bit deceiving, or people will be like, oh, these guys are lying about their performance. I've only done 40 or 50%. What's going on? Kurt, Rev, I'm going to call you guys out. No, let's make it really, really straightforward, right? So this performance here is since we started live testing it through Stacked Invest, and they started taking the data and the trades before anyone could jump on it. And that was on July, I think it was July 4th. The first trade publicly was September 10th or 9th, depending on where you are in the world. So here, about there, if you guys can see my marker, and that line's about. You guys can't see it because my head's in the way. It lines at about 25. Yeah, 25% or so ROI. So before anyone got on it, it had done 25% from July to September ROI. ROE actually, because it's compounded. Now that performance here, we can see 88%, 0.37%, win rate 73.68%. So from there to there, you should be at about 50% or so. If we're looking at it, you should be at about 50% or so. I haven't done the numbers. I've got it on my computer. I just need to input the last 4 or 5 trades to get the final. But from your dollar perspective, if you didn't do anything and you had a bot running for you, and we've explained this from the start, it's only looking to accumulate dollar. It's only buying. It's actually longing, because that's the only way we can use Stacked Invest. It takes a long at a 1x, essentially the same thing as purchasing it as spot, and then it sells out the position when it's ready to, when it thinks we're done. And you can see here, it's not perfect. It has a bit of sideways action. You can see in here, there's little wins, and then it has some nice wins along the way. And then it also has some, that was probably the biggest loss we've had in a long time on Cryptify Forcia. But you can see it was above 100% there. It was at about 108 or 109% since July. Now, to do 100% on your dollar, you tell any businessman or anyone that knows anything about finances, to do 100% on your dollar in a 6-month period, or even 88% in a 6-month period, is almost unheard of. And then you're talking about a bot. A bot is doing it for you. Now, we had a much greater run in the first 6 months of 2020 than we did in the last 6 months of 2020. Let me just be straight up about that. It was a lot better numbers than this. And that's just because of market conditions, what's going on. But, you know, we believe in it and we believe in the product, and that's why we've shared it with people. So, yeah, we're looking forward to, you know, where this goes and how well it does in the next, I guess, 6 months from here, because it tends to do better in the first 6 months of the year. So, and we can already see that from December, January. You can see we had a really great December. See those lines right there from December? We had a really great December. I mean, it pushed out. It sat idle for almost 2 months here. So, and then December we had a really great month. So we expect this to. I'm personally expecting to do well, but you know, at the end of the day, it's everyone's decision to go in. But please, before you decide to jump onto the Spotbot, make sure you watch the videos that we drop. We'll drop it in announcements. I think you might have already done it before, Kurt.
Yeah, it's in the announced and registered channel as well.
Yeah. So just make sure you understand the videos, understand what the bot's concept is. That it doesn't look to accumulate necessarily a share asset or a number of tokens in ETH, or any particular asset. It's more looking to accumulate dollar. And if it picks up more, other Ethereum or whatever it is in this specific scenario and example for Cryptify Forcia, it is an ETH. If it picks up more, then awesome, cool. But if it doesn't, that is not the point of the bot. The point of the bot is to allocate dollars that you don't have in the market, that you are not attached to, and just let them do their thing while you sleep, day in, day out. And there is a fee, obviously, to it, but all the information is there. But please make sure that you understand and watch those videos and really understand and grasp the idea of the bot. Some people may say, Kurt, and I had a lot of people say this to me, but Rev, Ethereum from July to now has done like 400%. Your bot's done 100%. And it's always good to know that. And I say, I appreciate your question and I appreciate your, what you're saying. But let's be honest. Did you know that Ethereum was going to do 400%? Because if you did, you should have told me. I would have made a killing, and I would have given you 50% of the profits. So, and this is
hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? I mean, even though that we've been massive advocates from Ethereum from like under $90, I think it was. I mean, I was screaming from the rooftops. You were as well, but there's no certainty here, and there's a lot of people still chasing trades at the moment. The bot suits certain individuals, and it's diversifying portfolio. You can be day trading over here. You can be doing some other weekly trades over here. You have a bot working over here. Like that's where the smart trader and investor are doing certain different things.
Yeah.
So that is the purpose of the bot. If you're all in on ETH and you've done 400%, then hats off to you. We both done really well off ETH as well, but the bot has its own purpose in your trading toolkit, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to say. It's just another tool to your toolkit. What if Ethereum fell to $10 from 90? You just don't know. If it had fallen to $10, well, the bot would have done, let's say, 100%. And you'd have, from a dollar perspective, let's say it was $100 and it fell to $10. I'm not saying it's going to fall to $10, just using it as an example. Well, it was at $100 and you had $1,000. You picked up 10 ETH on the first trade, and then it's fallen to $10. You've done 100% on your 1,000. Now you've got $2,000, right? And ETH is at $10. Now you've got 200 ETH, rather than 200 ETH, right? Yeah. And just
I guarantee if it did something like that, majority of the market would be too scared to take the trade.
Well, that's the thing.
And the bot steps in. It's got no emotions, right? So it's just taking trade, doing it as it does, So a lot of people say, yeah, but I could have done this. I guarantee you, majority of the people don't do it.
No.
When Bitcoin was ripping recently, people don't have to sell, they don't have to buy, they just get stuck. You get frozen.
Yeah, analysis paralysis.
The bot, the bot is cool as ice. It just keeps doing its thing. So,
and like I said, it has losses and wins at the same time. So nothing's guaranteed in life at all. But we just wanted to really cover that and throw it in. But I think we've gone over time. Almost at 30. This is our longest TIS hitters ever.
Our longest one, yeah. It's 33 minutes. I refuse to do a video with 33 minutes. It ain't happening.
We're compensating for the last one that we missed on Friday.
Lots coming up with Cryptify. I'm going to make some announcements very, very soon. I'm sorry that Rev and I and Rand have been away. We've been extremely busy in the back end and also some personal stuff. So we are starting to ramp things back up, and we're going to have some more news for you guys soon, and we'll be back in the community chatting to everyone as well. So thanks for joining us on episode 20. There's everything, and let's see how this next trade goes. Take care and speak to you guys soon.
Cheers, Kurt. Take it easy, mate.